Hello everyone, and today we're back for another top 5 video, and we're going to be talking about the top 4 Igneus Hollow Loomians. So, when I made my top 5 Hyua Cemetery Loomians, let's just say I kind of forgot about the Igneus Hollow. So, yeah, there are only 4 Loomians in this spot, so let's talk about them right now. Number 4 into this list is going to be Kolola. And honestly, Kolola is honestly not too bad. Has very good melee bulk, has a very good health stat, and it has some really good things with it. Like it has Raging Flame, has Rejuvenate, has Magma Burst. I mean, you could even run an offensive Kolola, and you could hit extremely hard, which is really good. Unfortunately, the Volcanic Kolola isn't as good as a Pyroland, but it's still a decent option. There's also Mud Spatter, which makes it have good coverage, and the fact that it has Rejuvenate and Raging Flame is also really nice. Unfortunately, that's kind of all that Kolola has. It has Raging Flame, and it has Rejuvenate, but there are other range tanks and there are other melee tanks which can utilize the job better. I mean, Seer Knight is a better Raging Flame Loomian. Venolin is a better range tank that has Barter. You have Obsidian that could be a setup sweeper. Like, Kolola is a decent Loomian, but there's no reason to use Kolola over other tanks in the game. Despite that, though, Kolola is really good, and if it gets a move like Mudslide, this Loomian would honestly be very good. But even now, it is still a very solid Loomian that is unfortunately at the bottom of the list. Number 3 onto this list is going to be Vocala. Yes, Vocala makes the top 3 on this list. Yes, you technically got to trade to get this Loomian, but I'm going to count it just because it is an evolved form of Cradle. This thing is very interesting because this thing doesn't hit hard at all. Yeah, this Loomian doesn't hit hard at all. But what makes up for its lack of hitting hard is the fact that it has setup and a very fast speed stat. It has Broad Boost, which is awesome, and it has amazing coverage. It has plant coverage, earth coverage, and ancient fire stab. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the best fire stab, but at least it has it. That is something I can't really say with some other Loomians, like Wiki. So that's something. And with it having Broad Boost, it could be extremely powerful. But you kind of need the Brawn Boost in order for Vocala to hit hard, unlike certain other late game cleaners like Arpaigo and Baneki, who either have faster speed stats or higher attack stats. I'm not saying that Vocala is a bad late game cleaner, but I think it does get outclassed by other late game cleaners besides its coverage, and that's why Vocala is only 3 on this list, and not any higher. Number 2 onto this list is going to be Eruptodon. Eruptodon is awesome. It has Magnify. With Pyro, it hits extremely hard. And it has Dark Surge coverage. Yeah, this thing is just an overall really good ranged attacking fire type. And yes, I know in the footage that I'm using a melee Eruptodon. And that's because I have never used a ranged Eruptodon yet. But the thing is with Ranger Eruptodon is that after a Magnify, this thing can break teams if you're not careful. Even if you resist fire, Eruptodon can still do over half your health after a Magnify, which is kind of crazy to think about. Not to mention it has Mudslide to get rid of barbs, has Dark Surge to hit dark types like Luminami. Like, this thing is really good. And yes, Luminami isn't a dark type, it's a water type, I get that. Mistake on my part, I'm sorry. And also, the melee Eruptodon is honestly okay as well. It's definitely not as good as the Ranger Eruptodon because it doesn't have any good setup besides Power Focus. But it does have decent coverage. Earthquake, which actually hits harder compared to Mudslide. And Phantom Slash, that can actually hit your Soul, Dusket, and Mutagon quite effectively. The melee Eruptodon is okay, but the range one is way better, and it definitely deserves to be in the number 2 spot on this list. Honorable mention on the list, and the honorable mention is Pyroland. Pyroland technically isn't an Igneus Hollow Loomian, as it is a Vari Loomian, but you do need to evolve your Vari in Igneus Hollow, so that's why I want to talk about it. If Pyrolin was on the list, it would probably be number 1. At least, at the very worst, number 2 on this list. This is one of the best range attackers in all of Loomian Legacy that also has insane defense, especially on the range side. And after a Peace of Mind, this thing can be really hard to beat. It also has Carolyn coverage, meaning you can pretty much hit any Loomian in the entire game. It even has Mud Spatter as well to hit those pesky bar blasts. Yeah, Pyrolin is a really good Loomian. And not to mention that the Volcanic Pyrolin, if you can get a +1 Volcanic Pyrolin, any Loomian that you can hit for neutral damage gets 1 banged. That's insane to think about. Pyrolin as a defensive option is really good. Pyrolin as an offensive option is really good. And Pyrolin, if it was an Igneus Hollow Loomian and count it on the list, would probably be the best Igneus Hollow Loomian in the entire game. But it's only an honorable mention. The best Igneus Hollow Loomian in the game is Obsidragon. Yep, Obsidragon. No contest here. This is by far the best Igneus Hollow Loomian in the game, and probably the best Loomian that we have talked about on this list. While it isn't the same overpowered beast it was by the end of 2022 and early 2023, this Loomian is still freaking insane. I mean, it has Primal Slash and Body Crash, which is amazing for each other because the moves that Body Crash can't hit, the Spirit types. And you have Primal Slash to hit them super effectively. Not to mention, this is one of the bulkiest melee tanks in all of Loomian Legacy. Meaning that after a resilience boost, you can hit really hard. You also have Beast Slumber, which increases the defenses on both sides while gaining your health back. You have Mega Chomp coverage. You have Earthquake coverage. You have Drudge, which can increase the Obsidragon's speed. And while the Resilience Obsidragon is insane, the defensive version, you can even run a Rageful Plushie Drudge set and be a late game cleaner because it has insane coverage. This Loomian is insane. And there are so many ways you can run Obsidragon. Melee tanky, range tanky, Drudge setup sweeper. You can even run a Troll Obsidragon set with Mud Spatter. There's no contest. This Loomian is the best Igneus Hollow Loomian in the entire game. And here it is, Obsidragon, the best Igneus Hollow Loomian. Now, for real, the next top 5 list will be on Route 6. I won't forget about a route this time. Don't y'all worry. Despite that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video regardless, and I will see y'all all later. Bye-bye!